everyone, and welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to systematically break down the science and, surprisingly, the totally wild history behind the most pervasive health idioms you probably grew up hearing. We're putting these strict generational rules to the test to find out what is actually true and what is just a well-intentioned old wives' tale.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to dismantle 4 absolute classic myths. We'll start with the 8 glasses of water rule, move on to the detox diet deception, look into carrots and night vision, talk about having wet hair in cold weather, and finally wrap up with why science always beats out old wives' tales.
All right, first up, the 8 glasses myth and decoding your daily hydration. We are investigating the most common hydration rule in the world to see if it actually holds any water.
Okay, we've all been told, usually by very well-meaning people, to chug exactly 8 8-ounce glasses of plain water every single day, just to avoid chronic dehydration. It is the golden rule of fitness blogs everywhere. But you gotta wonder, is there any actual medical basis for this specific number?
Well, the truth is, your actual hydration needs depend heavily on a bunch of personal factors. We're talking your weight, your activity level, the climate you live in, and, crucially, your diet. There is absolutely no official United States medical guideline demanding that you sit there and drink 8 glasses of plain faucet water. Believe it or not, roughly 80% of your total daily water intake actually comes from all beverages. And yes, that even includes caffeinated ones like tea or coffee. They really do contribute positively to your hydration. And that remaining 20%, your body absorbs that straight out of the foods you eat, things like juicy fruits, vegetables, and lentils. So where did we even get this rule? This entire myth was born from a massive public misunderstanding. Back in a 1945 National Research Council report, people read the phrase 2.5 liters daily and literally just stopped reading. They entirely ignored the very next sentence. That next sentence actually explained that most of this quantity is already contained in prepared foods. From there, bottled water marketing just kind of ran with it, and a modern myth was born. Moving right along to Section 2. The detox diet deception and trusting your body. Let's see how our hydration myth kind of spills over into this second huge misconception. We are constantly bombarded with marketing for ridiculously expensive juices, teas, and intense fasting protocols that promise to flush out pollutants and toxins. But if you skip the daily green juice, are you really harboring dangerous toxins? Do you actually need to buy these things? Honestly, despite the super convincing marketing behind juice cleanses, the doctor-approved reality is incredibly simple. Your body really doesn't need outside help, like a pricey herbal tea, to remove everyday metabolites. You aren't just walking around collecting toxins like a kitchen sponge. Because, as it turns out, your liver and kidneys are the only true detox systems you will ever need. They are highly functioning, perfectly adapted organs designed exactly for this purpose. Buying into expensive detox diets often just makes you lose temporary water weight, and honestly, in some cases, it can do way more harm than good by depriving you of essential nutrients. Let's jump to Section 3, carrots and night vision. We're transitioning to a myth that has fascinating roots, not in a simple misunderstanding, but in a literal world war. I guarantee parents have used this line on you to get you to finish your vegetables at the dinner table. Eat your carrots, they'll help you see in the dark. But does munching on these root vegetables actually change how your eyes process low light? So, while it is totally true that the beta-carotene in carrots gets converted by your body into vitamin A, which is absolutely essential for maintaining a clear cornea and keeping your eyes healthy, it definitely has hard limits. It absolutely cannot grant you superhuman sight. Once your baseline vitamin levels are met, eating a truckload of carrots won't improve your vision any further. You just can't hack your biology to see in pitch black. And the origin of this one is crazy. This lie was actually invented by the British government as World War II propaganda to hide their brand new top-secret airborne radar technology from the Germans in 1940. The Ministry of Information needed a really good cover story. When British ace pilot John Cat's Eyes Cunningham started shooting down enemy bombers in the dead of night, the government told the press it was because their pilots were eating massive amounts of carrots. The public bought it hook, line, and sinker, the propaganda posters rolled out, and the myth somehow survived for decades. All right, on to Section 4, wet hair in cold weather, otherwise known as the Great Winter Panic. Let's look at our final myth today. If you've ever tried to leave the house after a shower in December, you have definitely heard the stern warning from a parent or a grandparent,
Going outside with a wet head is going to instantly give you a cold or even pneumonia. But is the winter weather truly the thing to blame for your sniffles? The absolute scientific truth is that cold air and damp hair do not and cannot cause illnesses on their own. Colds and the flu are caused exclusively by viruses like the influenza virus or the rhinovirus. Only physical exposure to one of those little microorganisms can actually make you sick. But, and this is a big but, the myth isn't entirely without some biological logic.
Check out the real biological process happening behind the scenes here. When you go outside with wet hair, the rapid evaporation pulls heat straight from your scalp, lowering your overall body temperature. When you inhale that freezing winter air, your nasal passages cool down fast. This temperature drop actually slows down the movement of your protective mucus. So, if a live rhinovirus is already hanging around in your environment, that sluggish mucus gives the virus a perfect window of opportunity to break through your weakened defenses and infect you. The wet hair didn't create the cold out of thin air, it just rolled out the red carpet for the virus. Finally, Section 5, Science over Old Wives' Tales. As we wrap up this explainer, we really need to talk about why prioritizing hard evidence is just so critical for your overall health. There's a consensus among our medical sources that serves as a really powerful reminder. Just because a health trend claims to be natural or traditional, it doesn't automatically mean it's safe, let alone effective. We so often fall into the trap of thinking that if a remedy has been repeated for 100 years, it simply must be valid. But science requires actual evidence, not just endless repetition. I mean, arsenic is 100% natural, but you definitely wouldn't want it in your tea. Which leaves us with this final question to ponder. Considering how easily we, as an entire society, have fallen for everything from literal wartime carrot propaganda to misread water drinking mandates, what other deeply held health beliefs in your own daily routine might actually be total fiction? It might be time to take a closer look at your own habits and see what the science actually says. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.